Hello friend, welcome back to Chef Bill's Kitchen. Today I'm going to challenge myself to make 100 gyoza. Now you may have had gyoza or pot stickers before. Sometimes you might have seen them in a bag like this. You get them in the frozen food section at your local grocery store. These are great to have on hand. They're easy to cook. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own gyoza from scratch. Not only that, I'm going to show you how to cook them properly just like in the restaurants. And I'm going to show you how to do all that right now.
Who's the chef that you know? It's Chef Bill.
Now, whether you call them gyoza or pot stickers, it's basically the same thing. Chinese pot stickers tend to be a little thicker and bigger. Japanese pot stickers or gyoza are smaller, they have a thinner skin, but there's still pork and cabbage in both, so it's basically the same thing. So if you follow my recipe, you could also make a Chinese version of the pot sticker with a thicker skin. What I have here are some pre-made round wraps. Now, you could make your dough from scratch. I'm not going to do that today. I bought 2 of these packages, which should be plenty to make my 100 gyoza. In fact, I might have enough to make a little extra. We'll find out. Now, although I have pre-bought gyoza wrappers, I am going to make the rest of the ingredients from scratch, starting with 2 pounds of pork shoulder that I got. It's freezing right now a little bit. I just put it in the freezer for a few minutes because I'm going to grind it, and it'll be easier to grind if I freeze it a little bit before I start. The other main ingredient is cabbage, and I have a couple of heads of cabbage. I am going to show you how to make gyoza, I'm going to show you how to cook gyoza, and I'm going to show you how to store gyoza for later. Now friend, before we get started, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the Chef Bill Show if you like my videos. If you like this video, give it a like. Okay friend, I'm ready for this 100 gyoza challenge. Are you ready for this challenge? I thought so. Let's get started. I have my KitchenAid mixer with a meat grinder attachment here. I have put this in the freezer for several hours. The whole trick about grinding meat is to freeze. Freeze your meat grinder attachment if possible. Whatever meat grinder you're using, if you chill that. This has a fair amount of fat in the pork. That's okay. It's about what we want. If you look at the cost of ground beef or ground pork, they're generally much higher than just a regular cut of beef or pork, like this pork shoulder. It was not very expensive. You're going to find that the ground pork is going to be more expensive per pound, but if you grind it yourself, you're not only saving the cost of the meat, but you're getting better quality generally. My ground beef and my ground pork are always way better than any ground beef or ground pork I might buy in the store. We are all ground up. I'm going to put this back in the freezer. I do want to grind it once again at a finer grind because this is a little coarse. It's good for hamburger meat, but maybe not so good for our gyoza meat. Also, this pork has to mesh very well with our ground cabbage, almost like they're one creamy mixture. So that's important. Anyway, we're going to put this back in the freezer. Our ground pork is out of the freezer. I'm going to use a finer grate on my meat grinder in this second pass. So here's the ground pork. That's going to be the final grind. As you can see, it is similar in size and texture to the ground pork you might find in the store. I guarantee you this would be higher quality, better flavor, fresh tasting, lighter, because it doesn't, even though there was a lot of fat in there, it does not have nearly the fat content as ground pork you'd find in the store. We have come to the cabbage part. So I have some cabbage. You always take out the cores, of course. I have affixed this type of slicing blade to my Cuisinart. Now in the old days, I used to cut this up by hand very fine. You need to be very fine for gyoza. I'm going to use this slicing blade to do the work for me. Okay. So I need about 4 to 5 cups for my gyoza. I'm going to have to run it through again, because this is shredded. I need it micro pieces, so I'm going to have to put this through the food processor again. But here I can judge how much cabbage I really have. This is at 5 cups. So this will be enough for my gyoza. I'm going to take this opportunity to put in some garlic and ginger. This is probably twice as much garlic as a traditional Japanese gyoza recipe would call for. I just want to make it a little more garlicky. I'm trying to make 100 gyoza, so I'm going to put in 4 cloves. And then probably I want to put about this much ginger in. So we're not going to go crazy with the ginger. I'm just going to rough chop the garlic because I'm going to put the garlic and ginger through the food processor. I'm going to save some of my shredded cabbage for later. Okay, so I've got my cabbage super fine, as you can see, but this is my cabbage and garlic and ginger mixture. I'm going to be adding it to my ground pork and making up the final gyoza filling. We are back here with the KitchenAid mixer. I'm going to run my gyoza filling through a mixing. To this I'm adding 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch will obviously thicken up my filling. It'll give it some integrity. We want about a tablespoon of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and I'm just going to put in a tablespoon of salt. This is our gyoza mixture. It's time to start making 100 gyoza. I am ready to start making my gyoza. I have my gyoza skins right here. I keep these in the refrigerator, and while I'm working I'll put most of them back in the refrigerator so that I want them to be a little cold. If they get warmed up, they start to get gooey and harder to work with, so remember to keep them nice and cold when you work with them. I always have a little cup of water, a teacup of water, because I'm going to use the water to seal the gyozas. Okay, so let's just get started here. You take a skin. I put a little water just on the edge, on the half of it. When you're folding them over, you might often have too much filling. You just sort of scoop that out with your finger. So I start like this. Then the folds happen with your index finger like this. So you pinch with the thumb, and then you kind of fold with the forefinger. So you take it, fold, take it, fold, take it, and fold it like that. Okay. Now I want to make sure that it has the little bottom on it, a flat bottom, so that it stands up like that. And I'm going to put them on a tray here. So I'm going to take some cornstarch. It's important that you put either flour or cornstarch down on the surface that you're setting them down on. You might put saran wrap over this whole thing when you're done and throw it in the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to put that guy there. Okay, take another one. Water. I pushed it together. Make sure that sits down. Now, as you practice this, you want to get better with the appearance. Japanese cooking is much about appearance and the visual presentation. So as you do these, you can try to make your tops a little nicer. Mine aren't super pretty, but it looks really nice if you manage to get those all nice with the folds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 gyoza so far. Only 87 more to go. Before I make any more pot stickers up, I want to cook some up. So I'm going to get my cast iron pan and my metal spatula, and you'll see why these 2 tools are really the way to go. Okay, our pan is very hot now. I'm going to put in enough peanut oil just to cover the bottom. I don't want to put in too much, it'll just cause problems, but don't put in too little or your gyoza will stick. So that's about a good tablespoon. Put our guys in here. Alright, Take our lid. You're going to take a little bit of water, about half a cup of water. Then lower the temperature down. We're going to let them steam for a while, so we lower our temperature. We will know when it's ready to look when we hear the gyoza sizzling. When you see the steam stop coming off, then you know they're frying. Then you can turn up the heat again. You'll know by the sound of the sizzle. While these guys are steaming, I'm going to make up my gyoza sauce. What I like to do is put in some white vinegar. I just kind of eyeball this, but basically, so 2 tablespoons of vinegar to 1 part soy. Then I like to use a sesame chili oil. The sesame oil in this will give it a really nice flavor. That's it. I'm starting to hear the gyoza sizzle, and it looks like a lot of that water has evaporated away, but we're not done cooking. There's steam, but they need to be fried. So what I'm going to do is increase the temperature of the flame, higher flame, and now I'm going to fry the gyoza. Now the gyoza are frying, you can start to see the bottoms, the very bottoms of them starting to brown. You watch how they brown on the bottom to sort of judge when to pull them up. Okay, so they're starting to get noticeably brown on the bottom. This is why I use this very thin spatula, because it gets under the gyoza really well. And so we just flip them over, and there is our gyoza. We are back making more gyoza. So we ate 11 gyoza. We have 2 left. I need to make 87 more gyoza. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm tired. Oh, I can't do it. It's too many. Oh.
Hey kid, come on now, you got this. Just 60 more, 60 more. Come on, snap out of it. Here you go, here you go, here you go. There we go. Yep. You got this, kid. Come on, come on.
Oh, I can't do it. It's too many gyozas. It's too many. It's just too many. Gyozas. It's too many.
You can do it, kid. I'm counting.
I'm gonna make 100 gyoza.
How long is this gonna take? You can do it, kid. I'm counting. Hello? I'm hungry.
I'm gonna make 100 gyoza.
Snap out of it, kid! Oh. That's it! I'm throwing in the towel! That's the Chef Bill I know.
I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna make 100 gyoza. I have 68 pot stickers here. Here was the 40 I had in the freezer. I ate 11 now, remember, we already cooked 11. So the grand total today is 119 pot stickers. But it worked out perfectly. There is no more gyoza filling left. I used it all. These ones being in the freezer, they're starting to get frozen. Now when these are completely frozen, I'll just throw this in a plastic bag, and then I'll put these other ones out and freeze them. It is important that you freeze the gyoza in this standing up position, frozen solid, because when you throw them in the bag, you don't want them to become deformed or stick together. So we will have weeks, if not months, of frozen gyoza. Thank you for joining me once again in my kitchen and learning how to make gyoza. I had a great time. I hope you did too. We made near 119 gyoza, which was better than I expected, and I'm really happy about that. Frozen gyoza is a really great thing to have on hand because you could just Take them out of the freezer and throw them in the pan and cook them just like we demonstrated today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, why not subscribe? So until next time, friend, happy cooking from Chef Bill.